What's up, everybody? Of course, audio check first. Let's see if audio works. Does it work? Yes, I have sound. Welcome back, everybody. How are you guys doing? First off, what's up, Alex? What's up, Michael? I wanted to tell the person who sent me that hateful email, screw you, man. I sent you my address and I told you where to find me. If you ever come around, come my house. I'll take you for a coffee. So besides that, today we're going to be talking about editing your drone footage. So who else we have here? We have ST Scorch. We have Eddie Gray. What's up, guys? I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. I'm running it through this, but as you guys can see, I have my headphones on and I'm supposed to have a special guest today who's going to help me, who's supposed to help me explain stuff about editing, because I'm getting a lot of questions about editing and I don't feel like actually making a video about it because I think it's boring, you guys watching me click around. But I will be talking about it today. And I have good news for you guys. I finally received my Autel ND filters. I'm working currently on a video for that. And the best part about that is that I'm actually going to give them away as well. So it's going to be either the Skyread or the Autel filters that I will be giving away, either one of those two. As soon as the video is done on my next live stream, I will be just giving it away to the people who will be in the live stream, because you guys are the ones who are always loyal fans, who always cruise by, always hang with me over here and always do my stuff. And yeah, pretty much that's what it is. As soon as that video is done and then the live stream comes up, I'm going to be choosing one of you guys to do the stuff. We're pretty much going to do that spinning wheel thing again, I guess. And as you guys can see, my new studio. It's actually not my new studio. It's just revamped, because before I used to sit the other way around. I have the camera now there where I used to sit before, which is the shorter area. But because YouTube took over plenty of my life, I decided I needed to make it bigger. And this table over here is actually on wheels. So I'm going to be able to move this table for some of my video projects, such as reviews and stuff, to show off the products that are in the back on this side right there, which I usually always have if I get products sent to me by a company. I usually keep the box or I give them away or whatever, but I usually have them there. So to show off throughout the time what I have achieved and what is available and all that stuff. And we have Godrilla, we have Yo Phelps, what's up, yo? And we have Jedediah K. And yeah, it was a lot of work. I was working really hard on this damn thing. I had to paint these walls and everything. But even that has a video coming up. I'm currently editing that as well, which also includes the best of Autel, Parrot, and the DJI Mavic Mini of 2020. All that stuff going to be together in there, together with the vlog with some time lapses that are shot while making the studio. So you guys can actually see that with barely any money, because all this stuff was done with leftovers, like leftover things. Based on this is my workshop, I had to move my workbench. My workbench is over there now. And but you'll see all that stuff in the vlog. And I invited Billy Ripka, who is a person that does this. He's like really, really good. This is Billy Ripka's channel right here. And Billy does a lot of tutorials about how to use DaVinci Resolve. So he's like a master, and I have been following him a long time, where I have seen a lot of those things the things that you guys see in my videos pretty much is what Billy has created here in his tutorials, where I have followed, because I'm not a pro in any of that stuff. So he has created tutorials how to use that DaVinci Resolve, and I have been able to follow a lot of those things. And he has playlists such as DaVinci Resolve for beginners and all that stuff. So he has a lot of things that are currently there, call outs, transitions, pop outs, beginners for DaVinci Resolve for beginners. So he has a lot of things in there that are very, very helpful. We have Baba Yo, we have Pocho on the loose. What's up, my man? We have Mr. Tom. Let me read all this stuff real quick. I just went over the names. What's up? Alex is a little bit drunk. Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Then Eddie, talk about some honey does laugh out loud. After the studio upgrade, his wife is going to work him today. Yeah, my wife. I caught some wife aggro before that already. Like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm working on my studio. Oh, what you doing with your studio? Oh, I'm doing this. And then I posted a picture of halfway through my studio upgrading and the paint job, because I hate painting. For everybody who doesn't know, I hate totally painting. My wife painted the entire house, inside and outside. The only thing that I ever painted on our house was the primer that I sprayed when we was building this damn thing, and that was pretty much it. So when I was working on my studio here and I started doing this whole wall painting stuff, oh my god, I caught it. Like, she was really mad, like really mad. Julio Morales, what's up, my man? How you doing? So I'm hoping to see Billy online pretty soon. I told him that I'm starting my live stream. He hasn't answered me yet, so let's see. If not, I'll pull it off myself. So yes, so editing is editing. What can I say? Editing. With editing, the one thing that you have to worry about most is the flow of the video. If you want to create something, like I have the intro and stuff, I went into it. That's very technical and that's very detailed. And I'm subscribed to like Motion Array, and I'm subscribed to like Artlist. And that has to do with that I don't want to run into stuff like, for an example, copyright infringement. I know YouTube has like an audio library, but the audio library kind of sucks, to be honest, because they don't really have that much good music. So I've subscribed for a year-long thing for Artlist, which has music. That music, let me pull up Artlist real quick if you guys don't know it yet. Artlist. Artlist.io. Here we go. Let me pull that over here. So this is Artlist. This is pretty much what I use for music and all that stuff, because I use it. I choose it over Epidemic Sound and what is the other, Soundstream or something. There are like two different ones, and I don't really like them because Artlist has the possibility, once you download the song and you download the license, that thing is yours forever. Like, you got to be able to utilize it for however long you want to. And that's also one of the reasons why I chose DaVinci Resolve over Adobe Premiere, because Adobe Premiere has like a monthly base to base. Yeah, you get Lightroom. Yeah, you get Photoshop, but I have all that already. I have Photoshop as a standalone version back then, the Photoshop CS that I bought. So, and Adobe Premiere is one of those things that every month you got to pay. And I didn't like that. DaVinci Resolve, on the other hand, has, in my eyes, way better capabilities of doing color grading, of doing editing, of doing all these things. And that's why I followed Billy Ripka. And Billy just so happened, showed up in the stream, and he is currently backstage. And I will pull him in right about now. What's up, Billy? How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Apologize for being a minute late and using my phone. We're just like doing a lot of things like with our studio right now, and kind of have everything taken apart. So
yeah, I just had that happen to me. My studio just finished. I did a 5-day job straight through, and it just happened that it finished.
Yeah, that looks awesome, man.
So Billy,
thank you.
Tell us a little bit about you. How you, where you from? What do you do? What brought you to DaVinci Resolve? What is it?
Yeah, so first off, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate the invitation to come out. So I have been, it really starts off like, I had a YouTube channel like when I was 15, right? Like just doing stuff, gaming, that kind of crap. Like it was probably, I think it was like 8 years ago at this point. Like I'm 23, I'm gonna be 24 in like a couple of weeks. But so I mean, you're talking like almost 8-9 years ago, right? And that channel ended up getting like 12,000 subscribers, all of that stuff. And I'm like 15 years old, right? So I had to do editing, and I had to do video and all of that stuff. And DaVinci Resolve, while it may have been around, and I don't know if it actually was, I didn't use it. I used something called Sony Vegas. And I thought the process was kind of like fascinating, right? Of just creating videos. But I mean, it was at that point, it was like really a means to an end, right? So like I wanted to create, so here's the software. I ended up stopping because it just didn't make me happy. I was putting out like 6 videos a week, right? It was a lot. It was the grind, man. So I quit for a while, and then I ended up like fast forward probably like 5 years ago, and just was like, man, I really want to make YouTube videos. I want to do this. I want to make things happen. So I started making videos, right? And they were awful. I mean, they were like, I'm a Christian. I'm actually, at the time I was going to school to, I was going to Bible college. So I was, doing like small, like sermons, that kind of stuff, just to practice and all of that. And I mean, awful videos, like just the quality, there was no hook, right? It didn't capture any audience, right? And it was bad. So after like 10 videos, right? And I was like, man, this sucks. I was like, I just want to learn how to make a good video. And that's what I want to do. So I have like one of those personalities, like when I get into something, like I get into it, right? Like I spend the next like 2 years, like just learning how to make good videos, right? I learned filmmaking, I learned video editing, I learned all of that crap. And in the process, you land an editing job, right? Doing it for a living, right? Under somebody else. And I'm just like, oh, this is really cool. But I was using Premiere Pro, and Premiere was, is still considered to a lot of people the bee's knees, but it was literally crapping out on itself for like just the longest time. As long as I was using it, it was killing itself. It would be like, I'm just going to stop working and freeze. I was like, no, stop that. I need you. I had multiple times where it would auto save, but it would like auto save and corrupt the file. And then it's like, wait, hold on. That was like a really big project that I put like 40 hours into. And it was like, yeah, but I wanted to corrupt. I was like, no, it's not okay. So after all of that, right? 2.5 years, I said, frick this, man. Like DaVinci Resolve had just come out with Resolve 16. I had seen the guy, I don't know if I feel like everybody's seen this video, the Zebra Zone guy. You ever
Nope.
seen that one where it's like Premiere Pro versus DaVinci Resolve, and it's like, why I switched after 10 years?
Oh,
Guy,
yeah. No, yeah.
see,
No,
everybody.
I do. Yeah, now
So
that you
I
say
saw that video and I'm like, oh my gosh, did this guy make that video in DaVinci? Is it really capable of this? And just seeing more people like move over, and I was learning it. Like I knew how to edit. I knew the mindset. I knew what I needed to do. It was just finding out where the things were in the program. And a lot of the tutorials out there were not that helpful.
no, not at
They
all.
really weren't. Like I personally know Casey Ferris, right? Like I literally talked to him yesterday. Awesome guy, right? Makes great content, but one guy can't make every video, right? And
Yeah.
then the other people who were out there at the time were very long-winded and a little unemotional, and had very long videos that I hated it. I started watching Jay Littman. I was like, man, I'm gonna learn from this guy. And then he just said something where he's like, I decided I was gonna switch my channel from whatever his vlogs to being more Da Vinci. And he's like, that was a great idea. And at the time, I had put out on my channel 4 vlogs and 4 videos specific to filmmaking and filmmaking tips and tricks and all that stuff, and nothing happened. Right? I was like, all right, yeah, it's like a couple hundred views, maybe 1,000, right? And not that that's not a lot, right? You're talking people, right? 1,000 people, that's a lot, but in comparison, right, and of what I had a vision for, it was like it was not hitting that mark. So I was like, wow, what if I just learn DaVinci Resolve and make videos on it as I learn, and make them fun and engaging and quality every single time, right? Like
Which you have.
I try. But like I don't make videos that are, I don't want to make videos that are like unnecessarily long, right? Like let's boil things down. Let's explain it in really like basic terms. Why do you need this? Why do you not need this? And I just kind of fell in love with that, right? And I got pretty good at it, I'd say. Decent. But it was just fun. So, eventually
Yeah,
got to a
you have
place.
grown a big followership already.
Yeah.
Looking at your channel, I think you just had 50,000 subscribers, 58. You almost 60,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it's crazy
in that short amount of time. And you also have now a membership that people can subscribe to.
Yeah, which
and
you're part of.
It's yes, I am, because I just appreciate the time that you put into it. I know how much it costs how much time it costs, and knowledge that you share, and technically see it for free. And it's very short down. And one of the biggest ones that got me across yours was the effect of the Iron Man HUD effect, which I ended up actually using right here in one of my videos. And I was like, I followed your tutorial step by step to just have that in there. And I started the same as you. I started off with Sony Vegas. And because I used to work with Photoshop, I knew about layers. So therefore, I knew about sound, audio track. I knew about layers and how you add them on and how you can overlay certain things. The one thing that I didn't know about everything was things like this, tracking. The one thing that is very intimidating on DaVinci Resolve when you first start with it is the nodes, the Fusion channel. And that Fusion tab itself is one thing that I, to this day, have disregarded off, because I learned through Sony Vegas how to add on certain things in a certain way with layers that it makes it look like I'm not even using really any special effects, such as here. I reproduced myself, replicated myself with your tutorial of how to know how to cut stuff in between, how to blend a track. And that's pretty much what I did. And I recorded myself twice. and then I had to react to it. So I recorded myself first on this side, right over here, on this side right here. I recorded
Yes.
myself, and then while I was doing this, I actually reacted with this one while looking at my other screen where I pulled it to this computer. But I had to cut it in between so it looks like that there's no interruption, you know. And if I do have to have certain interruptions, that's when I usually do like blendovers like this, so that you're not going to see a small mistake because people are distracted. It's an illusion, you know. People are distracted from certain things, and that's one of the things that you pointed out in one of your videos where you said that everything is an illusion based on working with video editing. And yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm like, hey, Billy Ripka is one of these guys that I follow to the T, literally in his channel, all the tutorials that I follow through. And yeah, so how long did it actually take you from starting with DaVinci Resolve? I mean, yeah, you had experience with Adobe and you had experience with Sony, but how long did it actually take you to really, really know the things that you do now?
So I would say that for the actual editing side of it, right, it took me, I'd say like a month and a half or 2 months, right, to really like the editing side, because that's different from the fusion side, from the Fairlight side, from color grading, right? Because you're talking different monsters inside of the same program. You know, but really getting familiar with the tools and setting up keybinds that I liked and all of that stuff was, I would say, about a month and a half or 2 months. And all the while, right, I'm making tutorials as I learn, right, which is like, you know, you could take it as, oh, like he was just, you know, like sometimes, I won't lie, sometimes the videos were not completely as accurate as I wanted. And now up to my current standards, right, like I would be like, oh heck no, why would I would not post that. But at the time, I mean, there was me or nobody else, or one other person who, yeah, was the reason I started. So it was like, well, okay, sure. And since then I've made up follow-up videos and done stuff like that. But, you know, I really take off the idea of like, if you can, well, I heard this saying a while ago and I've applied it to multiple different areas in my life. It's like, if you can teach something, then you really mastered it. Right. So for me to be able to teach, let's say how to, I mean, even something simple, right? How do you sync up audio, right? Very easy thing, but how do you explain somebody? How do you explain to somebody?
The one thing that I find the hardest on this is because like people like you or people like me, like I do editing for fun. I love the creation of it, and you do the same. The problem is because we do it so many times. Now, when you have to teach it to somebody who does not know about it, you keep forgetting about that these people don't know.
They don't know.
And that's why, for an example, like Casey Ferris, I stumbled about him, over him, like after your channel, and I couldn't relate because the problem was that Casey's very technical. So I'm kind of like, you're like way behind. You end up in one masterclass and you're like, what did he just say? Like, where are we? You know, and I'm like lost. I was lost in that. Besides you, there's Mr. Alex is another one.
He's
that
the guy.
has a very, very, very. It's a great guy. He get like those 5-minute Fridays too. And you and him, you guys have this ability to teach these tutorials from the get-go, that you know where to follow through. And like I said, the one thing that was the best tutorial was that whole Iron Man HUD effect for tracing, which I was able afterwards to apply actually with tracing to follow cars and all that stuff. You know what I mean? To call out that the call out follows my object and all that stuff. And that was the cool part about it, because you can apply it afterwards. And the thing is, your tutorial here, this footage that was in my video was a one-time shot. I did it from the start to follow you through your tutorial. And I set up that screen behind me as you asked, and I put the light from the bottom. So, and then I did that whole cutout so that it looks like this. And it was a one-time thing, and it worked right off the bat. And it's like, whoa. I looked at it afterwards like, I did that? No, well, I didn't. Billy did.
Well, then you learned.
Yeah, but then I learned it. And then, of course, the good part is because it's YouTube, And as long as YouTube is there and you don't deactivate the video, I will always be able to return to it. So that video is always one of my favorites to come back to just watch it. I think I watched that video 20 times already.
Oh, that's awesome.
And going through it. And I have a lot of those tutorials that I go through of yours, transitions. So the one thing that some guys asked over here, do you fly drones? Did you ever fly a drone?
Yeah, actually, I do have a drone. I have a Mavic Air 2.
All right.
Yeah, so I bought that 6 months ago or so. So one of the things I need to do is, of course, get a license for it. I know that while some channels have gotten in trouble from the FAA, right, by them actually putting their footage on YouTube, and FAA is like, hold up, you don't actually have a license, you animal.
Yeah, it's called a Part 107 license, which is a commercial license.
That's it.
So
yeah, so I'm definitely gonna get that. I don't exclusively say, like, sometimes when I have like footage on there, I won't have, like, of my own, I won't say that it's mine. I'll just say that I won't even acknowledge it, right? Like, oh, I got this, I got a clip right here, whatever. Because sometimes I use from ArtGrid or video blocks, right? It depends how the actual, what shot it is or what shot I need versus the amount of time I have to make the tutorial. So it's just
the one thing you have to remember about that is that even though you utilize drone footage, if the FAA wants to come after you, they have to prove that it's yours, that you flew the drone and that you shot the footage. You might be utilizing somebody else. You might be utilizing my footage, and you might be utilizing that. So therefore, there's not so much that you have to worry about unless you're literally trying to make money off of that with your channel. You know what I mean? Just say so.
And that's the issue, is that the FAA considers YouTube a business, because it's not like I make ad revenue, right? So once that started, it's like, well, now you have to go, you have to really treat it like a business. So
just don't lose yourself in it.
Just what was that?
Don't lose yourself in it.
In the business?
Yes, because I've seen a lot of channels that when grow big, and then the people changed, and then all of a sudden it's like, that's not the guy that I followed when I started watching him. You know what I mean? So that's one of those things that I'm always trying to be the same guy. I mean, I juggle things around. I juggle my life around. I juggle my job around, and then I do this, and then this became all of a sudden a side business, and now it takes over more and more of my time, and now I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute.
This could be a thing.
It's sort of is already a thing, because it kind of finances itself, and pretty much like all the accessories is based on donations from people through the super chat. I have people buy me coffee. I have donations pouring in through PayPal just like that, because there's like, oh, I really would like to see you have this type of drone, so I give you $100. I'm like, dude, I cannot accept that. You know what I mean? Like, but there's like, no, you can have it. And I was like, okay. So like, people are really grateful for the good information that you receive, and that's why I became part of your team with the LFS, because it's just, I think you deserve that, because you show so much time, effort, and it's so easy to understand to edit your stuff. And all my drone flyers here will be able to utilize that, and the same is for my business. My clients, they love the way I edit, because it flows, and you know how to create something great. You know what I mean? And that's the cool part about it. So, and then of course, if people find your stuff, your channel, and they're going to see it, and they're like, whoa, I really can relate. I don't know nothing. And there you have things in there in your tab that is from like DaVinci for beginners, you know what I mean? Which is really good.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's important, right? Like I had to, so you were referring to something earlier, right? That you said, like, as professionals, as people who do this stuff all of the time, right? Like editing, drones, all that, like you actually, and I would like to put this in a different way or whatever, but this is what I call it, right? Like, it's a curse of knowledge. So it's not, the knowledge itself is not a curse, but it's the assumption that you think everybody else knows the same thing.
That's the thing.
That's where it's like, no, they don't know, right? Like
Yeah.
cutting a video, dude, whatever, right? Just 3 keys.
Yeah.
3 keys can do that, or 5 actually. But I'm just like, that's not an issue at all. Like super simple. But someone's just like, what's the cut button? And I'm like,
Yeah.
or, and I'm just like, all right, hold on. People don't get it sometimes, and that's fine. You need to explain it simpler, right? So I've definitely tried to explain things that need to be explained, but there are times where, I have to ask myself this as I'm building a video and building a script. I'm just like, okay, do they need to know this to make this effect, or is this like extra value? And if it's extra value, and let's say if the video is already really long, like 10, 12, 13 minutes, it's like, all right, then that technically doesn't need to be in there. So it has to go, right? So there are definitely times where that happens, but, it's just really like simplifying the methods and explaining, and assuming that they know nothing.
Yeah.
Because some people are coming in and don't know anything.
Yeah. And that's a lot of times it's like that. The one thing about editing for drone footage, one example, is some drones have an audio line, and like this drone right here does not have an audio line. So now I caught myself at some point in the beginning when I was like putting the footage together, and I just drag it over from the folder into the timeline. And then I don't use that cutting tab. I just use the editing tab itself. And I'm always on the editing tab. I cannot use that cutting tab for some reason. And then all of a sudden I just drag it over, and I didn't pay attention to the audio line. And so the audio line I created prior to that, I didn't lock it with the feature on the side. And then my video just pulled over the audio from the video footage from the drone and killed my audio in the bottom. And before I knew it, after I did like multiple clips, I was like, oh, where's my audio? And then I had to literally go back. I had to do Control Alt and just go back in the steps on what I was doing by like 20 or 30 steps to realize that, you got to lock your audio so that the next audio goes into the next track, and that the audio you created prior is not going to be affected by it. So that's pretty much already like knowledge that it's basic, but if you don't know, you're going to end up being clustered, and then you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to like, I don't know if I'll do this. So it's pretty easy in the beginning to say, it's easy to edit stuff. But that's, like I said, it's because we keep doing it over and over. So pretty much this one too with DaVinci Resolve. What I like about it is that it's a standalone version. You pay for it once, that's it, done deal. Updates come in, and then hopefully sometime down the road. So I have been with DaVinci Resolve since DaVinci Resolve 14, and 14 was free back then, and it had a ton of features in 14 that was for free, because I think at that time they just started blowing up really big and becoming a direct competitor to Adobe Premiere.
Yeah.
And a lot of features in the free version was super good. And it took 2 months until 15 came out. And when 15 came out, I was like, you know what? They deserve this stuff to be paid for. So I bought the full version, the studio right off the bat, DaVinci Resolve 15. And then 16 came out, and I was like, hey, I seen new features that I really liked. And I was like, okay, I'll go with that. So I ended up buying DaVinci Resolve 16 as soon as it came out too. And I'm happy with it. Like I have no problem of buying that, simply because I know that the product quality is good. And so far I only had one crash. Like one time I had a crash where I lost a project file that I was working on for like 5 or 6 hours. And then just the other day you released a video on how to set up your settings that you will never use that loop that again, because you have that autosave function inside there. Which I didn't know. You know what I mean? I totally didn't know until I seen your video. So that helps a lot too.
Actually, I don't know if you are aware of this, right? Because you might not be. Once you buy the studio license, which you did, you can use that license to upgrade from 15 to 16 to 17, right? You don't have to buy DaVinci Resolve 17. You could just so you don't have to, so you actually have 2 active licenses that you
I guess.
I'm like, you don't actually, like, once you have it, you have all future updates.
Oh, okay. Well, so here we go. Now I learned something new, guys. I currently have 2 licenses for DaVinci Resolve. So I should look into upgrading to 17 then.
I would say, actually. So what this is what I did, right? A guy named Josh Haynes, right? He put out, I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Not really.
So Josh Haynes, he's a guy he's a DaVinci Resolve creator. He has like tattoos all over him, right? Specific like so, and I only because that's like a really recognizable feature of him, right? They know him as a tattoo tutorial guy, that kind of thing, in the DaVinci community. So he actually made a video about how to have DaVinci Resolve 16 and 17 installed in the same computer. So I would say do that because DaVinci Resolve 17 is still in beta technically.
What is his name?
Josh Haynes.
Does he have a YouTube channel?
He does, yeah. He's got like 20,000 subscribers or something like that.
All right, there's Josh Haynes. Let me show that to. Hey, let me pull that up right here. Josh Haynes.
Yeah, he's good, dude. So, but he's got one how to like install DaVinci on what is it? Two different on the same computer. So, or DaVinci 17 on the same computer. I messed that up again. Whatever. I'm gonna go with it. But I did that because I don't, while I use the software professionally, because I have clients and all of that stuff, I'm like, all right, I do this YouTube channel and I, work on the cutting edge of features. So if it comes down to it and I really can't use 17 because it is like broken as crap, then I have to go back to 16, but I haven't had to do that yet. Right. Okay. But it's like a safety net. Think of that, or like a safety blanket. Like just knowing that if crap hits the fan, I can go back and still get my project done. That's nice. But I haven't really had any issues. I've actually been surprised about the stability of it.
Yeah, I totally love it. Like I love DaVinci Resolve so much because I have two friends who have clients as well, and they work with Adobe Premiere. And at some point, they were so frustrated because they couldn't get their product done because the projects kept crashing on them, it kept freezing on them, and it's like, and they put an enormous amount of time in it, and that time, editing takes time, and if you're not really good with it, and you try your best, and sometimes you have a flow, and you keep forgetting to save because that flow takes you about hour and a half, and you're like, oh yeah, I just got this, and then sometimes the editing part is like, whoa. Then all of a sudden it freezes. Like, it's not moving. And you stay like, you get so frustrated and you're like, oh my God, just 1.5 hours of that small compartment error that I really liked is just gone. And it's like, you die on the inside, literally, because you just wasted your time. And Adobe Premiere has done that for a lot of people, that they just inside died how many times. So they did to Adobe Premiere and they just looked for an alternative. The one thing that I like the most about DaVinci Resolve also is that you have Fairlight, which is an audio tab, which is you can work the audio in there separately, and it's very, very professional. The audio tab, besides the Fusion tab, is also a little bit intimidating if you don't know what you're doing because you kind of like have to become an audio mixer and a person that knows about it. But I say it that way. It's very easy if you just stay in the editing tab for beginners. You stay in the editing tab, and that's it. And you can start from there. The coolest part that I like about DaVinci Resolve is when you stay on a project and you save it, you go in the top left corner and you go on Project Manager and you go into another project from prior and you just copy that part of the timeline. You just mark it and then you copy. Then you go back onto Project Manager, go back to the project you was working on, and then just right-click paste. And you can utilize whatever footage from there straight into your new project without even having to do anything else. And that's like super cool. Like, whoa,
And I actually don't know if that was a feature in Premiere or not. So I no.
Nope, it wasn't. It wasn't until this latest update that they had, because I guess they have to live up to what DaVinci Resolve does. So Adobe Premiere never had that feature. That you always had to close it and you had to re-render the stuff, or you had to render that small section. You had to bring in that clip that you just rendered, and then you could use it in your new project. And DaVinci Resolve doesn't have that. You can just simply pull the whole thing over. And if you want to edit a little bit out of that, that's the key part to that whole thing. You can edit that and make it a little bit different. So I was able to utilize certain clips or certain sequences that I don't have to redo again, but just copy paste. And that's jumping in between projects. You know what I mean?
Love that.
And you also have a project tab where you can open up multiple projects afterwards, and you have different timelines, and you're like, that's super technical already. And I'm like, I don't want to get lost in it, because I caught myself having multiple, and I ended up editing into that one while I was supposed to be editing on the first one.
Just getting like, he's just like getting like an editing addiction where he's just like, I need more. Yeah. Like, bro, chill, stop it, put the mouse down.
Yeah, and I do a lot of 16-hour shifts, so I get up at 6. I get up at 5. I go work. I start at 7. I finish at 11 o'clock at night, and then I come home, and my mind is still going. So I just sit down for an hour and a half, and I edit a little bit here and there, and then I have to get back up at 5. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's just then the weekends come, and sometimes I have projects lined up because I have these ideas, and this is the one thing that I do. I write them down in my book. In here, I have all my ideas pretty much written down on what I want to do, which is my storyboard kind of, and I add on every time when I stay at work or when I have new ideas. I come home, and that's when the editing comes into part. So for drone footage itself, it's great too, because you can utilize whatever drone footage you have: 4K, 6K, 1080p, 2.7. It doesn't matter. The one thing that I think the hassle that DaVinci Resolve should change though is that you can change the project settings. Because if you don't do that in the beginning and you end up with a 29, you can do now?
Wait.
No, not the frame rate.
Gotcha.
Frame stuck rate on it. You know what I mean? So you cannot change the frame rate or anything. So sometimes you catch yourself, you end up being on 23.976, but you actually wanted to do a 30 FPS thing because all your drone footage is in 30 FPS, and before you know it, half an hour through your editing, you're like, oh, I'm in 24 frames per second. But the way around it is
copy
everything, go to new project, set up your project settings, and then just paste it back inside there.
Yeah.
It's not really that hard, but I wish you could change it. You know what I mean?
It's just inconvenient, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's just something that, if like, I guess if you're working on like a project that is like more, sensitive to frame rate, right? And if it's not using the 24 frames per second, then yes, that's super important, right? Generally though, like at least me, right? I've done, I think, one project in something other than 24 frames, just because 24 frames is like the standard of film, right? But if you're using something else where you really want to utilize that 60 frames per second, or that if you want it to be 30 frames, or you're going to obviously run into an issue if you don't catch it in the beginning, like you said, but it's an easy fix.
Yeah. So the cool part is, if you film in 120 but your timeline is on 24 frames per second for editing, drones, for example, the standard on these is usually 30 frames per second. You have the possibility of 60, and now with this bad boy right here, you can film 2.7K in 120. So this is an Autel Evo 2 Pro. So
really? How much is that?
Like $2,000. Yeah. So, but there, like the Mavic Air 2 that you have has a lot of capabilities too. So you can film also, I believe, in 120 in that one.
Yeah.
So drone footage itself, it's getting better and better too. The cool part about it is, like, if you have like these GPS quads and you go in 120, you can have that super smooth part. And DaVinci Resolve helps you a lot, especially if you have, like, for example, like the optical flow pattern on your inspector tab, which makes, like, if you filmed in the wrong frame settings, it kind of like tries to reproduce extra frames in between to make the flow look better. So you don't have that tree going like this, or have it in a different motion blur or whatever. So that's the cool part about it. Plus, when you look at 24 frames per second on your timeline itself, most cameras, such as like the one that I stream off right now, the Sony a6400, they all are the best for 24 frames per second. But now if you intermix that with these, then now you have, if I film this in 24 frames per second, then I'll pretty much going to be to the mercy of filming slow and to the point where this shot has to match what I want. But now if you have somebody on a motorcycle jumping through the screen, you want to film him in 120 frames per second.
Yes,
so you can slow it down. You know what I mean? So
to like 20% of real speed.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I just like it more better because DaVinci Resolve really, for editing itself, It's one of the best programs, I think, for beginners to start with to get into that professional
It's
level.
free.
And it's pretty
It's
much
free.
free
That's
because
the
you can
thing.
download the free version and there's no watermark. Like every other program that I know, Sony Vegas and all that stuff, they all have the trials like everybody else, but they all have this watermark. Once you start rendering the stuff, you have the watermark in the bottom. It says Sony. DaVinci doesn't do it. They're so convinced about that stuff. It's so cool. They just don't do it. They just
So the
say,
only
hey, this is
thing,
the version and what you can do. Sorry.
no, you're good. The only thing they do a watermark on is if you try to use an effect that is, let's say, from the paid version, right? So if you try to like enable motion blur on certain things or use like certain effects, right? Then it's like, hey, you can use it, but we're going to put a watermark on it because this is part of the studio version. If you want to use it without this, then buy it.
Yeah.
If not, get off. But I mean, here's the thing: is like Jay Lipman. I don't, are you familiar with him?
Nope.
Really? Okay, you just know me. That's fantastic. So Jay Lipman, another DaVinci Resolve guy. So he was like up and well, I don't know. He was the guy that like when he had said in that story I told you earlier, when he was like, yeah, it was like a good idea for me to do DaVinci, right? At the time he had like 2,000 subs, and I'm just like, I should do that. So anyway, like he okay, I lost my train of thought. Frank. I won't lie. I don't even know what I was talking about at this point. Honestly, I forget what I'm talking about.
Jay Lipman, we was talking about editing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. There it is. So Jay Lipman, he had like a full-blown like editing, gig job, whatever, like he had clients, all that, and he just used the free version until like 4 months ago. But he had been on YouTube creating content for 2 years plus.
With
right? Like he had been doing it. Yeah, with the free version. Like he'd been doing it. And he had like been having clients and he had been doing stuff like that for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you don't need some of those like really shiny features, right? Like motion blur and all of that, and you're not super concerned about it, then free version, I would say go for it.
That's what I mean. It's like it's DaVinci Resolve to get into it. It's not like with Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere, you gotta pay. You want to use it, you gotta pay. You're gonna end up paying. DaVinci Resolve, if you just start because you're just literally frying a drone, you have multiple clips that you want to do, and you just want to cut them and put music in it, and that's it. And you want to upload it to your YouTube channel, which is private, which is not monetized, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like that, to share it with the world, which many people want to see. Like me, I look at a lot of small channels with people that have like 8 subscribers, 10 subscribers. And I watch their stuff because sometimes they have like that certain technique of flying that I want to try too. They inspire me to do that. So that's why I go for the small channels first. And I look at all those because sometimes it's the same like when you play Mortal Kombat against a person that doesn't know how to do it. They do a special move just because they didn't know what they was doing. But you're like, how did you just do that? And that's the same with these things. I look at the small channels and they do something, even in the editing part, sometimes the way they cut them or where they cut them and they blend them over into the next motion. It's like, oh, I should have done that for my video. So that inspires me. That's where I get my ideas from too. And I'm just trying to apply that. So somebody else just went asking here, when we make videos, how many of the single scenes is it that we actually overlap? I barely overlap anything because I usually just put them next to each other and I just put a transition in it sometimes. And sometimes I just do an overlay, So.
Are you just meaning clips like by scenes?
Yeah, probably the scenes that you film with your drone, when you drone it, when you put the scenes next to each other. I have sometimes up to like 2,000 separate clips in different tracks. Yeah, you have a lot of sirens in the background.
I know. So we're on Main Street. We're on a main street, and apparently, we live right next to we actually live like right down the street from the fire department. So.
Oh, I thought he was on
and the police department. So I'm actually in a room right now that is completely empty because we're still painting it, but so there's echo and it's like right in the front, like next to the street. So sorry about that. Anyway,
so you have started on your channel. I have seen you have started all these shorts now that come up. Like they're like really short. Like some of these shorts that are in there, like the
Yeah,
masking
so I
tutorials and stuff.
yeah, so I
Sometimes,
have two.
yeah. So
Um,
and I was
go ahead.
impressed. I was like, oh, do you want to see how this pop out effect works? And I was like, pop out, huh? So I looked at it, and then I realized afterwards that pop out effect is actually one of those masking things, and you have that
It
bar.
is.
It's like, wow, I want to try this. So I actually last night I was a little bit bored, and I started doing it. Totally didn't work out like yours, but it's getting there.
It took seriously like that clip right there, like low key. It
Uh-huh.
took so freaking long. Not to like we actually that right
Right
there was
there.
cut. That right there was
Yeah.
pretty. I hated that. Like actually, I realized later on, even now that I'm like, no, I would have never had it pop out on the bottom, just the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
But just like that right there. Anyway, I think it was more of a pride thing because I'm like, I will not delete all of my hard work.
Right.
But I made so the original tutorial I had for this, right, was made a year ago, I think, or a little
Mm-hmm.
less than a year ago. And you know, I was just pretty much like, all right, like there's this new YouTube short thing. This is a video that's really sick, and I really love this effect. So let's just see if what people think about it. Like, let me make a really cool piece of content with it. Do a little something different, see what works and what doesn't work. So I threw it up there, and some people are like, "What the heck? Like, no full video, nothing like that." And I'm like, "But it's not meant to. It's just
It's supposed
it's
to
a
just give you an idea of what is coming. You know what I mean?
yeah." Or well, what actually is? I already have it. I have a full video on that already, right? And the whole thing was out for a while ago. So that was just repurposing content that I made a while ago. So I didn't even I pretty much just pulled that effect from that video I made and just threw it in there and added some like sick sound design. Actually, one of my guys did. I didn't even do it because I was working on this week's video. And that's I was actually just working on that right when you texted me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 7 o'clock. And I was like, oh geez. I was like, I'll be right back. Just popped in here.
So what do you have planned for the future? So
Yeah.
I don't want to hold you up any longer. I mean, you've given
you're
me a
fine,
lot
man.
of time.
No, I'm having fun. I'm seriously, man. Like, it's funny because some people say in my videos, they're just like, in the comments, they're like, oh yeah, good acting, you faker. You just have a personality. Like, you're so extra. I'm like, but I am. Like, in real life.
I just received hate mail.
Ooh, it's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this one wasn't really fun because he threatened my life. He said he's going to find me, he's going to kill me, he's going to shoot me, he's going to hate me, he's going to come to Hawaii one of these days. He's going to do all these unimaginable things to me because I'm flying this type of drone and I'm not with the DJI. And I was like, dude, what?
Get over yourself.
Like you go all the way out to find my email address and send me hate mail and just tell me this. And I'm like, don't you have better things to do? Like,
you threatened to murder me. What the heck, man?
Yeah, it's like
drone.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not even a huge channel. I would understand if I had like 500,000 subscribers, but I have like 2,500 subscribers. You know what I mean? Like I'm like a nobody.
Even that though, like it's totally uncalled for. And when I I think of it in like multiple ways, right? One, in a sense, like what kind of person actually gets online and it's just like, let me say the worst thing to this person, right? Yeah. Like it's kind of sad, really, when you think about it, because what's going wrong in their life to where they like that, whatever all the feelings and crap like that, that's in them, right? Yeah. So they're trying to like make you feel like crap, right? So that's just literally like crap. Yeah, I like that drone. I think it's cool. But so it's unfortunate when people do that, but it's always just like I usually say stuff like thanks or have a good day or thumbs up, that kind of stuff, or I just don't reply. Because
I rarely get it. I just had one time somebody trying to argue with me about why I had all these videos, these skippable ads in there, and I was like, I don't even have them activated. I only had the banners. But then I remembered that I received in the beginning or midway through the year from YouTube that they're gonna be able to throw skippable videos onto your video, no matter disregard of whatever. And apparently, because my video ended up in suggestions of
Yeah.
YouTube, they ended up putting an enormous amount of ads on it. Like it was a 9-minute video and then put 3 skippable ads. And I was like, and he ended up trying to argue with me about it. And I was like, I don't want to argue with you, bro. I understand that your experience was interrupted and I apologize for it, but I didn't have nothing to do with it. And then he tried to tell me, oh, that's not true. You can choose what you want. I was like, I can choose, but YouTube also does this, you know? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sometimes you're at the mercy of YouTube now. You know what I mean?
You are.
And I have premium. So because my channel itself with the monetization, I made it that it pays for itself because it's like, what, $12 a month? So I don't see ads at all. You know,
Well,
I don't have no ads. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm so spoiled from it now. Like when I go on my phone or somebody else's phone, I like show them and I see all these ads. I'm like, what?
Stop that.
Yeah,
let me watch it on my phone.
Yeah, and it's like I'm so used to not having ads, but it helps with me making new videos because I can't afford, because Hawaii is very expensive, and I can't afford to take off any money from my hard-earned money that I do because I have to support my family and my kids. You know what I mean? So I sort of have to make a living through YouTube to just support what I do, you know, and that's the main thing for it. But I have a very loyal fan base, you know, even though, because I restarted this channel, I had already 1,300 subscribers. So I technically only earned like, or what means only, within the 1 year I earned like 1,200 or 300 subscribers. But they're very loyal people and they're very, very nice people, you know. So they send me $50 here, they send me $20 here, they send me super stickers of $5, they send me, and they keep watching my content, you know, and it's great. And I don't aim to, if I have a video that has like 50,000 views, or not even 50, like 1,000 views, then all of a sudden I don't do the same video twice because I think to myself, I don't want to bore you, you know what I mean? I want to try something else. So now if that video didn't make 300 views, 400 views, well, then it didn't make it, but I still created it. It might catch more views later. I just keep going and I just try to entertain these people. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what it is, because they deserve to know the truth. Because I fell victim to following big channels and buying stuff that they recommended, not knowing that they're actually recommending it because it was given to them or they were paid for it. And I ended up buying like 2 things and wasting like $800 for total crap. And I'm like, whoa. And that what actually made me pick back up on this stuff and actually go to drone stuff. And that's when I realized who to weed out. There are very good people, very good channels out there that are very honest about their stuff. And there's some channels out there that are total sellouts. Yeah. You can say. Like they're literally sellouts. And that's why, for an example, I became part of your team on the Little Fish stuff because you offer to have project files together with your perks. And I downloaded them, and it's so much easier. Trust me, it's so much for somebody like me who's so busy working and knowing what I have to do on DaVinci Resolve, but then having these project files of yours, and I'm like, thanks, Billy. Oh my God, you know, like thank you, Jesus, Billy Ripka.
You know, that's actually been so, and just sorry to interrupt you.
No.
And that's actually been something that I've almost felt, I would say a little, I don't say bad about, but a little, was because like when, you know, I was making that membership, all of that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like sending project files for every single video, but I'm like, let's use my plugins video, for example, right? I can't send you the plugins. Like they're licenses, some of them, right? Like there's nothing I can like just give you, right? And I'm not going to, and logically, it does not make sense for me to send you over 100 gigabytes of footage for my whole video project because I shoot 4K, you know, 20 frames a second, 24 frames a second. And that takes I take some time to make those videos, right? Because I screw up a lot, mainly because I have a squirrel brain. But, you know, yes. Or I think too fast about or think too much about what I'm going to say. And just, it's all like, bleh.
Yeah.
You know, it's like 10 words at once.
I'm actually working on a blooper video right now because I have so many bloopers. Because when you stay by yourself and you do like regular videos, not like live stream right now, and you have like
so many
moments on your own, because I'm always alone in my shop over here in my studio, and then I do my stuff. And like one time I fell over the chair, you know, Another time there was a cockroach that just came out of nowhere and flew straight into me, and I'm like jumping, I'm like, what the? So that's like bloopers. I'm putting them together right now because I actually have a lot. Like,
I got hit in the face once by like we had like we had an apartment, like our old apartment. There was just like a stink bug problem, right? There was like a bad seal somewhere in the house or somewhere in the apartment. We could not, and like it was just stink bug infestation. There was one video where I had like a stink bug like just crawling down the walls slowly behind me, and I had no idea. And I'm just watching it like in the editing, or as I'm editing, and I'm like getting anxious about it, like just there, and I'm like, oh, stop it, go away. And then one time I got whacked in the face with one. One other funny time is I had my lights, like, because this is like a real issue, like a bad issue, right? That we couldn't fix and our landlord wouldn't fix. So it was funny though, like, because I had my light, in a softbox, all that crap, and all of a sudden one of them apparently got in it and casted this like stink bug shadow on me. And I'm like, I looked later, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? No way.
I filmed an episode for myself, and then I just edited the whole thing, and I was like really quick through it, and I was like, okay, I finished all this, then I watched it, and while I'm watching it, I focused on myself. I uploaded it to YouTube, and then all of a sudden somebody said, damn, that's a huge roach. And I was like, what? So I go through the stuff, and there was like a roach in the background right here next to my toolbox that literally just disappeared on it. And I was like, I came right after I seen that comment, I came straight into my shop, and I grabbed like that Ray can spray, and I was spraying the hell out of that toolbox. And I was like, I was like, you're gonna die.
Freaking die, man. I'm gonna kill you and your family.
Anyways, Billy, 1 hour is done already. I usually keep my streams to an hour. I totally feel honored that you came, and I really appreciate your time. And keep up the great work, my man. I'll be there. I'll be watching your stuff, and I hope that some of my guys finally realize what you can do with drone footage editing. If you want to get into DaVinci Resolve, that's the man right here, Billy Ripka, guys.
I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming, bro.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Billy Ripka, my man. That's such a cool guy. I mean, if you guys want, go check out his channel. It's right over here. He has amazing tutorials, some really cool stuff that you guys gonna be able to use if you want to use that for editing for your drone itself. And it doesn't matter what type of drone it is. It can be a Paradigm, it can be I think a Holy Stone 720, whatever video file. DaVinci Resolve pretty much eats all that stuff up, like literally eats it up. Like, it's really good. Billy Ripka is a very good man inside here. You heard him himself. This is the maker of DaVinci Resolve, or one of the developers, Josh Haynes. I'm definitely going to check out his channel afterwards. I put the channel links in the description already. No, in the chat earlier, and I'm going to add on all those after this live stream. Even Casey Ferris, who's a very technical. He's like the Gerald Undone in DaVinci Resolve, pretty much. Like, he is very technical. And then to get started, check out Billy's channel. He's really good. So if you want to look into editing your own drone footage, DaVinci Resolve, in my eyes, is like the way to go, where it starts easy. If you want to edit your stuff, go easy, go have a flow. Try get your shots out with your drone right off the bat. Plan your shots. And if you catch something really nice and all that stuff, you want to edit it. DaVinci Resolve, right now, I think the latest version is 17, but I think there's still 16 available on their website for download, which is the free version. And then you can utilize, if you want to, you can also utilize like YouTube library, whatever, that has multiple good songs that you're going to be able to use for your videos itself. And I mean, there's so many cool things that you can do when you edit stuff. And once you really get into editing, it has to do with layers. Like, it's like pretty much like you have the top. This is a bad example right there. Right here. Let me get my license here. So the top part, this is like the video line. You have the top is the video line. You have the bottom, which is the audio line. So those two always run with each other. That's because drones these days, some of them have audio lines with their footage, while Autel, for example, doesn't. That's a good part. what I do is usually when I go film and I know I fly my drone, I take an audio recorder with me. I hope I have it somewhere handy over here. Of course not. Right here. So this, if you guys can see it, this is the H1 Zoom, which is the H1N Zoom, which is an audio recorder. And it's really cool because these two things on the top is like microphones. And I usually take that with me when I go fly my drone, and I put it somewhere further away, like maybe like 20 feet, 30 feet away from me. And then I fly my drone, but it makes it capable for me to have audio of the environment. If I stay near one waterfall, if I stay by a highway, so I can underline my video afterwards. The same I did with my video about the powerful nighttime, the low light capability of this drone. I walked this all the way in the back of my lot, and I actually hung it up 20 feet up in the air, and I let it dangle off that palm tree so that it wouldn't capture so much the noise of my party that was going on during New Year's Eve. And it was catching all the fireworks sounds and stuff like that, and it doesn't necessarily hear the drone. And my drone was literally just above me, like 80 feet up, and I was just going left and right, turning just to look at everything. And I just zoomed in. I never flew anywhere, no nothing. I just 80 feet up, and I just looked around. So an audio recorder is going to help you for your video footage as well, to underline your footage with sound effects. Because sometimes some people, I guess, they have to put sound effects in there. And you can create some really cool sound effects too on your own somewhere. And then sometimes if you want to, let's say you want to do like a narrating of your footage. The easiest way of doing that is with one of these, and you put a blanket over your head and you know what you want to read. So you grab a small light and you write it down somewhere, and then you hold it just like this in front of you, because the blanket is going to be like cancellation of echo, and then you can just talk into it super calm, and you can make your thing, and you can narrate your own drone video. So drone editing, footage editing itself, like I said, check out DaVinci Resolve, go for it, give it a try. It's not really that hard. Like I said, it's multiple tracks that go through, and it's all deceiving. It's deception. Main footage right here. The next one over that footage, you have an option, because as soon as you put one above, that one will be visible. You put another one above, that's visible too. But if you have the two above and you just choose the option to add this to it, or you choose the option to be like luminescent, or you change the opacity on it, you're actually overlaying all these, and you can create multiple layers so that you're going to add on more and more, which I did in my video where I replicated myself right here, and I literally replicated myself. Come on, YouTube, you can load this. So I filmed myself the first time right here. So this is editing part, right? And then I overlaid it with another one right here, which I filmed afterwards. And then I just cut in the middle right here. I cut in the middle. So you will never really see me reaching over or whatever. So I just cut in the middle because the camera point itself never changed. You can do the same thing for your video footage from, let's say, one of my videos where it's like the best of footage, whatever, like best of October and all that stuff. Like if you have these cutscenes in there, it's usually just regular cutscenes. So I don't really do fancy cuts when I do these videos, because I just try to bang out the shots itself as good as possible. So right here, you're going to see that there's no big overlay. There's no big, it's just going to be a straight cut from here to the next shot. So I fade it out, and then the music comes up with the next. So see, there was no huge overlay of anything. There was no big effect, whatever. It's just cut next to each other. And you got to make sure that you have the same flow. So if you, for example, have a camera shot going to the right, like this with your drone, make sure that the next shot that you pick up on is also one that goes to the right, but then moves forward and goes somewhere else. So while filming already, try to visualize that video editing in your head while you're out there filming. And then you kind of like remember what you were shooting, right? I usually remember what I was shooting, where I went, because as soon as I come home, I pull out the SD card and I just put it on my computer. So I know already what I was filming. So when you have a shot going forward, make sure that next shot going into is going to be going forward and then maybe to the side, pulling over. So that's pretty much what you got to look at. You know what I mean? Like, make sure that your video flows. But hey, sometimes it's just good to have a video program. I mean, like DaVinci Resolve. You have a short clip of 20 seconds that you want to share, but your video itself is like 10 minutes long because you just filmed for 10 minutes, but you have that 10-second spot in between that you want to have. DaVinci Resolve. Drag it in there, cut to the chase, the 10 seconds that you have, take it out, and set it onto rendering. And in the rendering part, there's multiple tabs. So you have like the beginning tab. I don't have the program on this computer. I wish I would have. Let's see if I don't have it. Yeah, see, I don't have it on this. Darn it. I should have tried to put it up first. Anyways, but DaVinci Resolve, it has multiple tabs that you can use that come up. There's like a editing tab, then there's a cutting tab. It looks intimidating. There's a color grading tab. There's a fusion tab. You actually only need the editing tab. So the editing tab for your drone footage should be more than sufficient. And just make sure that you just cut it where you want it and you can go frame by frame. One thing you have to keep in mind, though, is with DaVinci Resolve, it's very, very graphic processing powerful. So it utilizes your graphic card the most to have a preview of your stuff while you edit. So make sure that your machine is capable of processing those 4K files. Or if you have 1080p, you can also go with just 1080p. Just be aware that it's going to take a lot of space. But if you want to try it, hey, go for DaVinci Resolve. Try it out. I would recommend trying it because it's not going to cost you anything, because you can try it at least and it's going to look great. And then just slowly get into it. And like I said, Billy Ripka is one of those guys that you can follow at first to get started with everything. Watch a couple YouTube videos first. There's a lot of good guys out there. Mr. Alex, Billy Ripka, you have Casey Ferris. You have all these cool guys that actually going to be able, just like with drones, that's going to be able to guide you into the right direction. Okay. So the hour is up already. It's been an hour and 12. That's pretty much, I think, one of my longest streams. I appreciate all of you guys that came by. Don't forget, I'm going to have my next ND filter video coming up tonight. I'm going to pop out the video, how my new studio right here. I've seen already a couple of comments during the stuff over here that you guys really, really like the studio. And I like it too. I really do. And I appreciate all you guys coming by today. So the next video tonight coming up is going to be the best mix of Autel Evo 2, Paradigm and DJI Mavic Mini, best of 2020, and that also includes my vlog of how I created this video. The studio right here, to show you on time lapse, pretty much like how it developed and where it went. And it took a total of 5 days, including me going to work and coming back. But I got that done. After that one, I will be popping out the ND filter video, and with the next live stream, hopefully by then I should be done with it. It's a comparison between Freewell, Skyread, and Autel ND filters, and I will be giving away one of the two, because either the Skyread or the Autel, and I leave that up to you guys because I have a set of 3 now. I have the Skyread, I have the Autel filters, and I have the Freewell filters, but the Freewell were given to me by Original Adobo, so I want to keep those. But then I only need one set. I need the Autel set or the Skyread set, and they're both very similar to each other. So I don't mind giving them away to one of you guys in the live stream, because you guys always come. And I think my giveaways, besides products that are sent to me, my giveaways for drone accessories will stay in the live stream section, because whoever comes during the time while I'm on for live stream deserves to have a chance to get one of these. And it slims down the amount of people that might just watch my video one time and just to get the filter or chance on the filter. So it slims it down. So your chances are greater for my loyal fans to literally have a chance to be a winner of these. And it's going to be live, so there's no manipulation, no nothing, because I'm going to pull up that random wheel. People are going to get a number assigned to them, and that's it. So I'll be giving away one of those ND filters. I'm going to look into what else I'm going to do for this Autel Evo 2. Right now, like I said, she's still grounded. I'm waiting for Autel support to get back to me on that whole gimbal calibration kind of thing, because I still can't calibrate it. It still keeps telling me that my drone is shaking. I have tried, I don't know how many different surfaces, so I'm not flying it right now. Right now, I'm actually flying my DJI Mavic Mini and my Paradigm. And the Paradigm, the gimbal doesn't even work. I have video transmission, but the gimbal doesn't work anymore. I just fly it for fun, because it's so much fun, because it's like a zippy little thing, and I crashed it 4 times last week. So then I have my DJI Mavic Mini, which I film with actually right now in 2.7K, 120 frames per second, because I like those slow-mos sometimes. It's really nice. So other than that, I think we're good. I appreciate you guys coming. Don't forget, COVID-19 is still out there to get you. So be a nice human no matter what. Wash your hands, wear your mask. Aloha, everybody. Love you all. Take it easy.